Guys, listen up. As you get older, the best way to continue to look young, exuberant, and vibrant is to continue to take care of your skin. That's why I'm excited to have Teej Hanley as a sponsor of today's video. You heard me talk about them before, and you're going to continue to hear me talk about them because I believe in their products and the positive impact that they have on every man's life. Teej Hanley makes taking care of your skin so easy. They provide you with all the products you need and nothing that you don't. Every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. Lapeef family, I must admit, skincare wasn't always something I always focused on, but since I started using this system, I've seen improvements in the way my skin looks and feels. And you don't have to take my word for it. They have over 5,000 5-star reviews on their website from satisfied customers from around the world. I recommend you start with the level 1 system, which comes with all the basics: a daily face wash, an exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer, and a PM moisturizer. In addition to amazing skin, members of Teej Hanley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off retail price, the ability to customize your box, pause or cancel at any time, and free US shipping. And because Teej Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click that first link in the description and you'll get 30% off the first box plus the free gift. Seriously, that's an amazing deal. Even though it's too early, as I often say, it's never too late. Click that link and get started today. What's going on, family? Welcome to Lapeef-ing Sundays. Let me go ahead and introduce the crew. We got Paradise Paris, Luis, Balancing Codes, Layla, Pick in the Basement, Eric, JS Storytell, me myself, I'm Lapeef JR. Welcome to Lapeef-ing Sundays on the Lapeef Network. What's going on, family? What's going on? How y'all doing?
What's popping? What's popping?
What's going on, fellas, ladies and gentlemen?
Sunday, everyone. Hey, everyone.
Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. It's another beautiful day in the paradise, right?
No,
is it
like that? Of course.
Is it the paradise for everybody, or is it? It's just tropical.
I think it's another day in paradise. I think we're doing good.
When y'all woke up this morning, man. It should be every day should be a day in paradise when you wake up, right?
Yeah, we ahead of the curve with a lot of other people.
What's that, brother?
I said we're ahead of the curve of a lot of other people, my guy.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Somebody woke up and couldn't experience the plans they had for today. So, with that being said, that's be grateful and thankful.
Right on. Right
Welcome
on.
to Lapeef-ing Sundays. Make sure you hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the sponsor again, Teach Hanley Uncomplicated Skincare for Men. 30% off along with a free gift. That link is in the description. Y'all go ahead and make sure y'all get that Teach pack, man. Full of Teach, as I always say. 30% off along with a free gift. Who we got in the chat? Jordan, I see you. What's going on, brother? The AP accountability partner. I see HR is in the building, so if we need any hurt feelings report, he is on site today. So I believe he is speaking with people. He spoke to some people earlier. If you guys want to, set up a private meeting or something, you can do it anonymously too. Anything dialogue you guys have, management has no, anything is going on, so it's strictly confidential. So HR is in the building. What's going on, Mr. Renegade, Dale Matthew? You want to become part of Green Gang? Click that link that's pinned to the top of the chat. It goes HR. He's letting you guys know. Again, he is in the building. Hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It's important that you hit the like button. Hit the dislike button. If you hit the like button and then we start to go down here, you don't like it, hit the dislike button. Engagement is engagement, right? So if you don't like it, respect. But hopefully you don't. Hopefully you will like it, and hopefully you will share it to somebody that needs to hear this message. We got some good topics ahead. You guys seen the thumbnail. The meat of the conversation is age gap relationships, but typically how we do on the Lapeef Network is we like to talk about other things before we build up. So this is the appetizer. And then we'll have the meat. We know the ladies like the meat.
Ow!
And then we'll have dessert. If you guys want to stick around, most people get full off the meat and then they pause and then they let me just go ahead and move on, man. It's Sunday and it's going in a direction that I didn't intend it to go. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the first topic. We got bouncing off cam, so I know what time it is. I know when the rhetoric is getting rated R.
You good. I'm about to switch devices. I'm coming right back in 2 seconds. Keep going, but you're doing good. I'm not complaining today.
Okay. Well, balance says there's no complaints, so I don't have to worry about HR having to talk with me today. So, all right, let's go ahead and get it started.
The day's still young, JR, though. The day's still young, so.
The day's still young? Okay.
Yeah.
Don't use the word offended because it's no wiggle room around the offended. I felt offended. Typically, when somebody feels offended, it's automatic wrong. So just don't use that word when you talk to HR, and then we all good. All right, let's go ahead and get it started. Our first topic of this early afternoon for some folks, late for others. It is sometimes a hug is not enough. Sometimes a hug is not enough. Let me go ahead and play this clip for you guys. I know it's y'all first time seeing it, so pretty sure you'll be surprised.
brother or a good friend of yours, or even your son or daughter or something, came to you and said, oh my God, I am going through the most difficult time in my life right now. I just lost my job. I can't pay my rent. I can't pay my mortgage. I can't pay this. I can't pay that. Do you think that a big hug is going to help that person? Emotionally, sure. But wouldn't it be much better to give them a hug and then spot them 10 G's to resolve their problems?
Sometimes a hug is not good enough. Sometimes it's not good enough. Sometimes when people come to you, they're not looking for a hug, right? Let's go ahead and talk about it. I'm curious to get you guys' opinions about this and perspectives. Sometimes a hug is not good enough. I'm going to start with you first, Luis.
Sometimes a hug is really not good enough. But however, I think that the lessons and the conversations that happen after that hug, because it's only momentarily, are bigger. Like money helps, and giving somebody a leg up on a situation does help, right? Especially if you have either the guidance or the resource to, help them navigate something. I don't know, maybe something tragic like your kitchen broke down or a car or whatnot. It's easy to fix it with money. So, yeah, sometimes a hug isn't enough. But I think sometimes for other situations, because unfortunately there are circumstances where people are behind on their rent or behind on their mortgage, behind on that car note, behind on I don't know, an electrical bill, right? They haven't eaten in the last 2 days, so I think a deeper conversation might need to happen in terms of their priorities and where are things falling through the cracks, right? Make sure that they're in the right state of mind, because sometimes it's easy to kind of get distracted and get off course, right? Like we're all human. We all have this human experience that we go through this, and I think having somebody right there with you to kind of check on you and see you're good, is just as valuable as a hug. But definitely, a hug isn't necessarily enough, especially when there's a life circumstantial situation that needs to be resolved. Are you?
All right. Share a story to tell. What are your thoughts, sir? Sometimes a hug is not good enough.
I think a hug is just fine depending on the person, man. I think some people just out their mind. This dude talking about spot somebody 10 G's. I mean, first of all, it depends on your financial situation. Uh, if you're Even if you're okay financially and you comfortable, that's still enough to part with. But it depends on the person you're giving it to, because I'm sure a lot of us have given people money and then they pop back up and hit you with another one of those stories, or this phone call is going to eventually turn into them hitting you with a hard luck story, and falling for it like, damn, that happened. And then next thing you know, you up in another 10 G's or another 5 G's or 2 G's, whatever. It's all on the person. I think if it's somebody that manages their money well, but that just some unforeseen circumstances have just flipped their whole situation upside down, and you can part with that money and not be resentful about it, then you do that. If it's somebody that means a lot to you, and you feel you can help their situation, okay. But if it's somebody that you loan this money to and they end up back asking you again, or if your money's out there, you see them taking trips, you see them eating good, you see them in what's that restaurant, everybody? That Fogo de Chao. I don't like that, yo. Like, if I loan you money and it's you're supposed to pay me back, I'm watching everything you do. New hats, new shoes, you smiling, you happy. Like, nah, dog. Why you so happy and you owe me? Just everything is gonna irritate you that much more, yo. Like, this nigga happy and he owe me money. Like, all right, bro, you know what I'm saying? It's time to pay up. Like, anything you do is just, you built like that. You may not say it out loud, but your brain is thinking it. Like, why they so happy and they owe me money? But if you could part with it, you could.
All right.
Jay said, keep on them out there being depressed, huh?
Yeah, dog.
I know that's right.
You know, if you got a boss, and you act like you irritated on the keyboard, so they think you working hard.
I know, you're right, man. Paradise Parents, what are your thoughts about it, ma'am? Sometimes a hug is not good enough.
I agree. But the thing is, when you talking about fronting people money, right? We got to be realistic. The money he proposed is a very unrealistic amount. That's not even something the average person is making. Furthermore, when you're going to people with your circumstances and you're laying everything on them feet, for one, you got to consider, are they in the space to deal with it? Because they may not have told you their issue. They may not be mentally adapted to hear what you're going through because you're going through whatever you're going through, but you're leaning on them as a guidance and a resource. Then we also don't consider the fact that although a hug is not enough, I can provide you solutions before I go in my wallet. I can help find other steps to get you out of that, because the basis of it, how did you get there? What happened to get you stressed, depressed, you losing your job, you losing your place? Like, those are extreme circumstances for a steady, adapted adult, especially in our age group, anything 32 plus. At that point, we got to start looking, because something happened that took a drastic life change that made you end up in this situation. So you may need more help than my money can just actually accommodate for. And, you know, I do agree that we do need to be more of a rational support system, but also, too, I do think that people don't need to take advantage of it. I shouldn't be the person that you first come run to when you at your wit's end, you down and out, you done hit rock bottom. You should have been coming to me. If you trust me, if you want my support, if you feel like I had the finances to do so, you should have been letting me in. Not at the moment that everything go, oops, I don't know what I'm going to do anymore.
Do you think it's pride and ego that people
Absolutely.
wait until the last minute?
Nobody wants to
there's
feel
like
case.
there's an opportunity to kind of put out the fire before it engulfs the entire house, but they wait until like it's already down to like the stills to give you a call.
And the last thing you want is a desperate individual, because a desperate person, they'll do anything. That's the scariest individual to have around you. But then we also got to look at how we're cultivating our environments, because the same way you came to me and you feel comfortable telling me that you were that down and out, why is it that you didn't feel comfortable beforehand and you knew I had the resources, you knew I could help appease you or help accommodate or put you in a better position than what you were in?
Okay. All right, Eric, I'm going to go to you, sir. Sometimes a hug is not good enough.
I mean, I concur with what everybody else is saying, but I think the main thing that everybody's saying right now is situational. It's very situational. For me, one of the main things that I do is I look at the entire situation. We all brought up different situations and different things that this could be. Number one, it could be a repeated thing with this person where they're constantly in these straits. I think we all could think of one family member, one friend, or one somebody that's always asking, always needing that help. And really, you even get tired of giving them hugs, right? You don't want to give them a hug. You really don't even want to answer the phone sometimes when they call. And then there's those other people that could hit a serious bump in the road or hit a pothole. Just being transparent, I've definitely hit potholes in my life, whereas I've had to, swallow my ego, like my brother said earlier. And you said, well, why'd you wait till the house burnt down? Well, for me, what I did is I did everything I possibly could before I asked that person. So sometimes the house does keep burning while you're still trying to put water on it. So that's a situation as well. But all of it's situational. It's cool if you got that 10 G's to give somebody, but always remember this too. If you give anybody anything, you really shouldn't expect it back. You really shouldn't. So if you giving it and then depending on getting it back, then that's kind of on you, really. So that's how I feel about
All
it.
right. Layla, I'm going to go to you. Sometimes a hug is not good enough. What are your thoughts, man?
I agree that, sometimes it's not good enough. But I also believe it's very situational. Like, it depends on what is the situation. Are they in a financial bind? If you're able to help them
and you can help them, I think you should. But at the same time, if it is a continuous, I'm constantly going through something, then they're out here eating good, doing this, that, and the third, and coming back to you with the situation, then you're wasting not only your money, but your time. You're constantly investing into someone that's not getting it. So I also agree with the point that you need to be able to not only just give this person a hug or money, but also maybe talk to them like, how did we even get in this position? How can we avoid getting in this position in the future? If I help you through this, what are you going to do to proactively avoid going back into this cycle again? So I feel like it's absolutely situational. Some people, if they're just contacting you for emotional support and they need that motivational talk just to keep going out there and getting it, that's completely different. So I feel like it's situational. But if it's a money issue, there has to be some type of consultation. We can't just keep investing, and the person is just out here blowing it on nonsense.
All right. Balancing codes. What are your thoughts,
I'm
man?
an advocate of not enabling people. I hate enabling people. So it really depends on the situation. It depends on the purpose. Because sometimes a hug is enough. Sometimes I just need a hug. I don't need any money. I don't need anything else. Sometimes I just need a hug. So it depends on the situation. Now, if somebody has financial issues and this is a recurring pattern, I need to know all the details. I need to know why. I need a contract. That's just me. I'm gonna need all your information if you want me to loan you anything, or even if you want me to give you anything. I want to know how you got in this predicament so it doesn't happen again. Because I think a lot of times we can enable people and they're like, well, you know what, I'm gonna have somebody to bail me out, and that's what we end up doing over and over and over. And if it's not you, they go ask somebody else. So you're not helping them, you're hurting them. So it depends on the person and the situation. That's how I can answer that.
All right, Brother Hink. Sometimes a hug is not enough.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell the brother, man. I'm not even gonna hit you with the side church hug. I'm not gonna hit you with the brother hug, man. I'm gonna hit you with that hug, where you can cry on my shoulder if need be. But to ask me for 10 racks, man, look, I can't do that. I'm broker than a motherfucker. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm broker than a motherfucker. Look,
What?
I know all y'all 6-figure people. I understand, yeah. Six-figure dude, but I've been through some hard time too, and I'm gonna tell him my story. I said I've been so low, I'm hitting the check cash in place every other week in order to borrow some money just to pay my rent, my car payment. That's how broke I was. Times is hard. I'm out there collecting cans, saying out there bucket shaking with the kids for the football teams. Man, I was doing whatever I had to do. Had 3 jobs at one time just to try to get myself up out of the hole. Now, have I ever borrowed money before? Yes, I have. And is it the most humbling thing ever? Yes, it is. But I never do it again, because I don't put myself in a situation where I'm good, I'm comfortable, I can take care of not only me myself, my kids if need be, and my future wife. So yeah, I'm not going back to being broke. And I'm not going to allow somebody to come borrow some money to get me to go back to being broke. If I'm gonna let you borrow some money, we're gonna come up with some type of plan. A plan on how you're going to return my money to me, how you going to pay me back, and then we're going to go over a budget. Why are you in this situation? Let him help you out with a budget. Let's create a budget for you so you don't be doing this again, and I don't have to see your ugly face talking about, can I borrow some money? No, we're not doing this shit. So we're gonna fix that right there. Now, if I see you coming again, you won't get another dime from me. I'm saying I'm sorry to hear that, man. Let me give you another long hug so you can cry on my shoulder out. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna even offer you a box of tissue and send you on about your way.
But realistically speaking, how common is it for people to get into a situation where they lost their job in their house? That's not a common situation. I think what more so perturbs me in this is the fact that you let it go so long to the point where you weren't hinting at it, you weren't vocal about it at some point, which I agree, it is a very vulnerable thing. But I also think that that's when you should be utilizing your support system and people around you to not only find other solutions to help you get out of that issue, but to be venting about it so that people are not blindsided. You can't go blindside somebody and tell them, man, they finna kick me out my house. I ain't got but 7 days. Can I crash with you? That's like very invasive. It's very inconsiderate. You can't impose on people like that. What's going on with you?
But people do that. They don't have. Some people just don't have no pride about them at all. They will do that, and they will come to you every other month when that rent is due again, and ask you, man, can you help me out again? I know I can't even last time, but man, it happened again. So again, I'm gonna have a game plan, and the game plan is not, like I said, it's going to have some type of budget as well as a repayment plan.
Right. Hey, Hank, the other thing too, bro, you kept touched on it. You know, and it sounds like you come from some of the same school that I do. Some people are marks too, man. See, there's people out here that see people and they think, oh, you got it. Like, how many people on this panel been told, oh, you got it, I know you got it, you can help me, this and that. Well, you know what? There are a lot of people out there that look at you, right, and think you got it. So they'll get in these situations and they'll move a certain way, and then they'll always think that they could like tug on your heartstrings and get that bread because you're seen as a mark. So sometimes you got to look at yourself too, because let's be real, some people like helping people, even to the tone of $10,000, and you get so caught up in helping people that really you hurting that person. You really just handicapping them, and that person that's handicapped is really just using you as a mark. That's really what it is a lot of times.
Yeah.
Hey, the great Andre 3000 said it best, man. Hey, I'm living check to check. Hey, if you don't move your feet, I don't eat. So we neck to neck. Shout out to Andre 3000, baby.
For sure.
Yeah, I do the same thing. They'll reach out to you like last minute talking about, let me borrow 300, let me borrow 500. Like, I'll give it to you when tax season comes around. Everybody waiting until tax season to pay everybody. By the time tax season comes around, they have at least like 6 outstanding different debts. You know what I'm saying? They owe Larry down the street. They owe their mama. They owe their brother.
And bro, they back broke again.
Yeah, they back broke. They waiting the entire year, to borrow money just to pay it back during tax season. Like we're hustling backwards out here.
Yeah. Sometimes a hug is not enough. I'm always looking at lessons, and did pull up the definition of lesson, which is an amount of teaching given at one time, a period of learning or teaching. Just because you get a lesson, it doesn't have to be negative or positive. I mean, I'm always looking for the lessons, even through the hard times. So if somebody come to me, yes, I'm gonna get them a hug. Am I gonna give them 10,000? If I have 10,000 and it's warranted, let's just say somebody's really in a bind and losing their house, and I have the means to provide the 10,000, I'm gonna still provide that lesson, because I think the lesson needs to be given, understanding needs to be given, because you want to make sure that this person don't make that a habit. Now, you don't have any control over it, but if somebody's coming to ask you for something, then I think that you should be able to give them, ask questions, give your opinions. But it's always like situational, because some people just may need a hug and may not need the money, right? Sometimes somebody just may need to regroup. But always look for that lesson. Always look for that lesson, whether it's good or bad. That's my thoughts.
But JR, we always know somebody's always trying to sell wolf tickets. They always selling dreams. And look, I know how to say no. My lady hates that I know how to say no so well, because I tell her no. I have no problem with that. Now, it took time. It took a lot of heartaches and bumped my head by, like I said, to learn that lesson. But yeah, it has to be said. Even mama gonna hear no if need be. I'm sorry, mama, I love you, but I can't do that.
All right. Anybody else got any final thoughts on this before we move on?
Yeah, like I think sometimes it's hard for us, like the example that Hank was just giving, it's hard for us to say no to our parents, right? Because we love them, we want to support them. But our parents, sometimes they're bad with money, they overspend, they have no budget. And then once they go buy everything they want, they're like, I could get it for my children. Like our parents do that a lot in our community, and we enable our parents, we enable our grandparents. So we got to actually nip it in the bud as a community. I really think so. That's all I want to add.
You know what's so interesting about that balance? I had a conversation, and we were talking about this with the fellas during King Talk too. One of the things I bring up and I talk about, when you're getting together with family, loved ones, I talk about like trying to get reunions or small little get-togethers, summer cookouts. It doesn't have to be everybody or big. You know what I'm saying? The valuable conversations is about what are you currently doing to improve yourself, whether that's in the mental state, business, etc. When you're around these kinds of people, everybody works as a resource. And having these conversations about, hey, I'm not doing too well with my finances. I need to figure out a better way how to budget things, or I need another how to set myself up with another stream of income.
Yeah, that's cool, but we live in the land of the floss, man. Everybody want to act like they're doing way better than they really are. Let's just be real. Look, that solution you just gave is off. Like that's their solution to all the problems, right? But 95% of Instagram is cap. 95% of anything that's on social media is cap, and everybody want to try to be something that they not. That's why the house is damn near burned down, because most of the people are lying about what they really got. Hink just came on here and told you the truth. Hey, I had to get 3 jobs, damn near home, went through all this stuff. Most people wouldn't even say what he just said. But the real deal, and Louis, what you just said is powerful, but it's just people got to be vulnerable enough to say what Hink just said and just be real about it. Now, I'm going to be real with you. If someone's real like that with me, and it's probably like their first time, and I got a group of people there with me, then maybe we could split that up to like 500 a piece or something. Now, maybe we can get closer to that 10, but I ain't trying to up that 10 myself. I don't want all that risk. But a lot of people won't be vulnerable about it.
Yeah, and it kind of comes down to like what kind of circle of people are you aligning yourself with? Because if you don't have, you know, to Paradise's point, she talked about your support group, right? What type of circle of friends or associates or families do you keep around you that are keeping you accountable, that are keeping you with your head on a swivel, right? For make sure you don't fall into these situations, because it's easy. Like, look, we all know what the price of gas is. We know what the price of grocery is. We know rents keep going up out there, right? We understand that life is becoming a little bit more and more expensive and more difficult. But however, these types of conversations and these types of interactions are very important to ensure that the people that you're in close proximity or in community with do not fall by the wayside. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna be honest. Nobody have conversations about money until they balling, and that's especially within our community. And I think Eric just mentioned it. Like, we're not honest about money, even in relationships. Now you'll have women go and get to dating with men, and she'll just see him driving a nice car, has no idea that he's probably living with somebody else and haven't really don't have that car for real. Or you will have men that are trying to date women, but because she looks good and the materialistic things, he don't realize he looking at a woman who is $60,000 worth of debt, because we don't discuss money. There's a stigma around it. Or even with our parents, a lot of times you don't realize until somebody died. Grandma died, mama died. Now you see she paying paycheck to paycheck, and she only putting a portion of the money on bills. So we talk about vulnerability and we talk about our support system, but the truth is we do need to start having conversations around money, not necessarily financial literacy specifically, because that is a skill that has to be taught. But you do need to be in your friend's business about their money. Hey, bro, how much you and your wife paying for your kids to go to that private school? You think that's reasonable? When I compared it to this public school in our area, they just 3 blocks down. You know, we don't have those type of conversations because we feel like, oh, that's their business, let them have it. But I'm your community, and eventually you're going to need me.
Great point.
Guys, just tuning in. Welcome to Lapeef-ing Sundays. Make sure you hit the like button. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the sponsor, Teej Hanley again. Uncomplicated skincare for men. 30% off along with a free gift. That link is in the description. Let's go ahead and move on to our next topic, which is successful women are in a lose-lose situation. Successful women are in a lose-lose situation. I'll go ahead and play this clip for context.
Expect to be taken care of. everywhere, right?
Yeah.
It's just in America, when a black woman says she want to be taken care of, it's a problem. And then when she began to take care of herself, it's still a problem. When people tell me I'm bossed up, that's what they say. Or I'm intimidated by you. You will see. Oh, I can't afford you. I can't. Like, I should be your motivation to be ambitious enough to come up here. Yeah. So you know, you can take care of a woman like me, because I'm not gonna suffer in my lifestyle that I know that I deserve. And like, I come from poverty. I come from nothing. So that God gave me a gift to live this life, I'm gonna live it to the fullest. Yeah. And I'm not gonna wait on anybody to give me that ability or give me that reason to do that. I have to create that for myself until someone comes along. But you think when somebody come along and be like, oh no, I got my own money, I'm too independent. No, like, and then people talking about splitting bills and stuff. See, I'm the type, I ain't even got time for pettiness, right? Like, just give me the bill, I'll pay for it.
If a man doesn't have it and they request that the bill be split and you say, okay, I got it. You don't think that would make him feel a certain way?
You shouldn't ask to split the bill
But
in the
what
first
if he
place.
only got half?
Well, we shouldn't be outside.
All right. Successful women are in a lose-lose situation. Do you guys agree?
I agree.
Why is that?
Because, like, when it comes, men also are gold diggers. It's not just women. Successful women attract men after their money the same way a man attracts a woman after their money. A man will try to get a woman pregnant just to lock her in if he doesn't feel like he technically shouldn't have had her. Like, men do the same thing. Men do the same thing that women do.
That's a whole
So you've had guys that have dated you for your money?
Yes. Yes, it's the looks, it's the money, it's the materialistic crap. But then when it comes down to intellectual conversation and the actual roots of, like, just being able to keep the relationship together, trust, loyalty, all these other things, 100%. Yes, I have experienced that.
How did he date you when you know it was in his intentions?
I didn't know it. No. It wasn't like he came out there like, hey girl, I'm coming up in here and I'm trying to take your money. It didn't happen like that. No. They do the charming. They act like they have money. They spend the money. They do everything. And then later down the road, you find out it was just them fronting. And then it's like, I'm just going through something all of a sudden.
How much later, man?
It's a form of love bombing, huh?
How much later?
How much later? It depends on the dude. Some dudes will hold up the facade and then all of a sudden go through a situation and, hey, can you help me out?
I'm talking about you.
With me?
How long did it last before you realized his agenda?
So the first person, this is when I was younger, so I was 20 something. The first person, it was 5 months into the relationship. I liked him a whole lot. Bought me the flowers. He gave me gifts, handed me money randomly, like the whole kit caboodle, and it was like so great. And then 5 months in, hey, I'm going through a family thing. Can you help me? Oh yeah, no problem. Because now I'm looking at, like, look at how much you've done for me. Of course, yeah, no problem, babe. I got you. And then you keep going.
20, you realize he's 20. He ain't got no.
It wasn't. No, we were in our 20s, like early 20s, and he was older than me. He wasn't like, he was like, say I was 22, he was like 26. He was older. So when he went through whatever and he's like, yeah, I'm going through a family situation, I'm like, oh man, yeah, I got you. And then it just kind of went downhill from there. So,
but you had money and he got in a relationship with you? Is that what you're saying?
You said what?
You had this type of money where you had this type of income and he got with you because of that?
Yeah, we met at work. Like he was one of the clients there. He's like, hey, here's my card, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Yeah, we met at work.
So he was your subordinate?
No, we didn't work together. He was a client from another company, like a partner company. So he was like, oh, here's my card. Like, here, sometimes they're hiring over here. It's another opportunity. So he had an idea of what I was making based off of where I was at.
So when you learned it the first time, how did you fall for it the second time though?
I didn't fall for it the second time. Second time was like red flag, automatically deaded. Like I wasn't trying to do that 2 times in a row. I was like, no.
You think us men are gold diggers, huh?
I was like, I ain't doing this again. I'm scared. Like,
you think some of us men are gold diggers, huh?
Some men, depending on the type of man and the quality of the man. Some men, not all men, but some men. Yes.
I just want to say that's not a common thing for men to be gold diggers. I will say that there is a thing of men being gigolos, and they get over on women that they deem less than, or they have no willpower to be with at all. Every man that I have put out more money on than he's put out on me, then there's only been one. He did not like me. He did not like me. He did not like me as a person. He did not want to deal with me. He was sitting there utilizing whatever resources and playing his part. But when he would deal with other women, their life was comfortable. It was easier. It was definitely something that he was able to have somebody say, I'm a man. I wasn't able to have that type of relationship with him. I don't look at men and go, hey, I make X, Y, and Z. You know, I have a huge platform. I'm making money off of that too. And then they go, there's no place in her life. It's an attitude. Ain't no such thing. The things that woman said in the video were all capped, because there's no reason why, as a person, you going, okay, this $500. Yeah, I got the 500. I ain't gonna take your 250. That never made sense. Where does it make sense? If you're saying, I want somebody who's my helpmate, I want a man who will take some of this stress and burden off of me, why are you adding stress and burden just to have your ego stroke and try to make it seem like your dick bigger than his because you can afford the bill? Kudos. What are you doing?
That's a fact.
Nah, that's a good point, but that leads to the point that women are in a lose-lose situation for the simple fact that they will never date down, and we always will. Essentially, we will pull people up, but we will never get that same courtesy ever, and it's just what it is, something we got to live with. However, I was watching an episode of Cam and Mace's show, and they were talking about when you're dating a woman, they were saying how to ruin a good woman. And they were talking about women they've dated and how they've gone out and, woman comes into your life who is economically lower than them. And they start buying the Gucci bags. They start buying the designer, all of this stuff. They're buying her stuff that is important in their world. He said the smart way to deal with that in that situation is to buy her the best of her. Stuff that she like. If you like Skechers, if you like Converse, shower her with stuff from her world, because all you're doing is ruining a good woman. You're making her materialistic. And I noticed that happens a lot. I've been guilty of it. I mean, my finances ain't astronomical. However, I've done that. I've bought them stuff that I like instead of what they already had. They like Reebok Classics. Shower them with Reebok Classics. Don't hit them with no Jordans or no, Balenciaga.
That's not the issue here, Jay. The issue here is, by the dynamic of that video, you have a woman saying that she's meeting men that she knows she's better well off than. She's choosing to take those men serious, but she's also choosing to overstep and minimize them in partnership. She doesn't know how to work efficiently with those men, because there's no way we're sitting here discussing a bill and I'm telling you, you have room in my life. I want you here. There's a place for you, but I'm pushing back on something where you could potentially have a voice on, which is finances. We all know it takes 3 things to make a relationship work: communication, finances, and sex. She lacking in 2. That is an issue.
No, but that's what I'm saying, which is saying why she will always be in a lose-lose situation, because that will always be an issue for her. You know what I mean? Like, we would take that on seamlessly. We wouldn't even be conversing about, are you paying half, or, for the most part, we're not worrying about that. If we're going to pay for it, we're going to pay for it. We're not going to complain that you can't pay half of it or that you can only pay half of it. We're not going to complain. However, a woman who is used to a certain lifestyle is not going to go below that. for the most part, nor should they have to go below that. But they are going to continue.
She's choosing to go to deal with men that she knows she's lower than, she's higher than in finances, but she's overriding the financial part of it. And the thing is, if you're not going to go into a situation and say, you know what, I make more than you, but that shouldn't be the predecessor for how I'm actually monopolizing this situation. I could see if the man was telling her, oh no, we're not doing this because I can't afford it. That wasn't the conversation. They were there. They were both engaged. She chose to say, why are we splitting the bill? Well, we're splitting the bill because I still want you to feel like I don't want you carrying the burden. We're splitting the bill because I don't make more than you. And I'm acknowledging the fact that you shouldn't have to pay for this good time by yourself. She didn't take it like that. She took it as, I already got it. That's crazy. But you started off saying that they're intimidated by you. That's not no intimidation. That's you trying to navigate big dick energy.
All right, I want to get we're gonna go to Luis, balance the coast, and Eric.
Yeah, I hear where you're coming from, Paradise. I mean, I think one of the components that's being overlooked at, although he might not be strong in the finance department, I'm sure that he has other talents and other attributes about him that he could facilitate, right? Maybe he's great at, I don't know, maybe social networking. Maybe he has a steady business that probably is growing and probably isn't on the level of what you've already amassed at this point of your career or of your life, right? So I think that people do come to you at different seasons of their life, and they might not be as strong financially compared to you, but I think that they also bring other skills and tangibles that you can have conversations with them and you can work with them. And probably there's probably things that you can learn from them and they could probably learn from you, how to like grow it and create something out of it. I think you probably painted it the best. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are operating from a sense of ego, right? And that's what really, really ruins it, because you are doing well. But then what happens on the flip side, where if he figures this formula out and he just takes off, he's going to probably remember all those times that you were trying to belittle him, emasculate him, not really believe in him, right? But he grinded it out and surpassed you. Now you're happy because you're like, yes, I have a man who, who has eclipsed me, right? But that person might not be bewildered to want to stay in that relationship, right? They might not feel that like this is something for them to kind of stay.
I agree. And at the basis of this, I think what I'm saying is you can't walk into a situation where you're saying, I know that I'm going to be the breadwinner in the majority of all situations. And the attitude that I'm carrying with me is a prejudice that every man that I run into is intimidated by my wallet. Because at that point, that's becoming a part of your identity. For one, we don't have many conversations around money. So how are you aware that he knows exactly how much you're making if you're not putting it out on the table? Secondly, if you're actually entertaining this person, you done went out with them and you guys are sitting there and the bill has come and it's come up. Well, you know what? I ain't really got it, but I can help you on it. Why is there so much pushback about the help portion of it? Because it's not him not being a man. He ain't sitting there going, she got it. He ain't doing that. He not kicking his feet up. He's saying, you know what? I can't do everything, but I can do something.
All right, let me get Balance up in there. Go ahead, Balance.
I'm not gonna lie, y'all lost me a little bit with this back and forth. But I will say this, just on this topic, life is long. People will say life is short, whatever. I think life is long when it comes to this topic, because what you make as a 20-year-old man, you're not going to make as a 40-year-old man, hopefully not. So if we're talking about the span of a lifetime, if you plan to spend a lifetime with a person, I'm not worried about what you're making at 30. That's not what you're going to make at 40, 50, 60. So, I mean, a lot of times women may start out making more than a man, but eventually that man will outpace her and then earn more. So I don't want to be stuck in how much he's making right now, because that may not be what he always makes. And of course, I'm not talking about every single situation, but I'm kind of tired of this topic, JR. I'm not gonna lie to you, because I feel like this is all over.
Come on.
I feel like this is all over the social media streets. And to be honest, a man has so much more to offer than if he makes more than me or not. Honestly, like I can't take it. Like he could protect me, he could raise my child, our children. Like I just don't want to get stuck on he has to make more than me. I mean, he may not make more than you in 2023. You don't know what's going to happen in 5 years. I mean, can he still be a great father in 5 years? Does he still have great character? So I think we got to get off of this, because it's a little weird. And I don't know why us in this culture, again, is stuck on this topic so much. Like we gotta find other things to chat about. I'm gonna leave it there.
Yeah, but balance, that's the thing about it that she said in the video. And I agree with you. I am on board with you 100%. But that was one thing that I took away and I extracted from the video. She said, I grew up and I came up in a poverty condition. And sort of what happens is that the poverty condition, either it's a single parent household or struggling 2-parent household, whatever the case, there is a traumatic experience that they had gone through for 18 years, 16 years, how many years of it, before they had to start learning to fend for themselves, get a job at 17, 16, bagging groceries, whatever the case may be. And they're only thinking about, I do not ever want to go back to what I grew up with. I do not ever want to experience that. So every time they talk to somebody or try to get in a relationship, it's starting off from a traumatic standpoint, not like this is the roadmap of how we're going to be successful and how we're going to flourish together and move forward. It's like, I can never go back to this like traumatic, poverty mindset. And sort of that's what a lot of people who have these conversations operate from, because we understand that a lot of people grew up in very impoverished conditions or are from a humble beginning, right? And they don't ever want to go back to that. They want to eclipse that. And sort of once they set this sort of imaginary bar that they haven't really reached or have set tangibles to get there, they view everybody who grew up in the trenches with them, both climbing out of the mud together side by side, and because they haven't eclipsed them or passed them, who are their equal, who are there in community and proximity to, they view them as less because they haven't surpassed them. And sort of that becomes the issue, is that when people start to view people who are their counterparts or their or colleagues or people that are well aligned with, right, where they started, they view them as less than because they're in the same struggle with them, as opposed to working together to get out of it. And sort of it becomes sort of a competition about who struggled the most and who struggled the least. I
want to respond to that, Luis, because you're 1,000% correct. Most of people of color in America, most of us have grown up without finances and poverty, the majority of us. So it's very few of us that have grew up with an abundance of wealth. But for most of us who have that situation, that's why I'm always talking about therapy, because all you're talking about is unhealed people. And unhealed people shouldn't be dating anyway, to be honest. They need to figure that out internally with the therapist before they're trying to bond with somebody else, because either way, it's not going to last, because they're going to self-sabotage the situation in one way or another, whether it's finances or something else. So at the end of the day, get your therapy before you get a relationship. That's important, because this is how you're going to raise your children. And you don't want to show them this cycle that your mother showed you and taught you. But yeah, that's it.
All right. Go ahead, Hank.
Well, yeah, the question is, successful women are in lose-lose situations. Well, it depends on the woman. It depends on the woman. If you're a selfish, materialistic woman, yeah, you're in a lose-lose because you're not willing to come off at high horse. You're not willing to do that. You, like Jace was saying, you wouldn't date the bus driver. You just wouldn't. That's beneath you. Even though that bus driver may have a dream, he's just trying to accomplish. He's just, working his thing till he gets to where he's financially able to do whatever his dream is. He might be in the process of going to a real estate school and get his certification and taking the test and become a realtor. And now all of a sudden his income's going to be changed and be much different. Depends on the situation. You never know what that man is going through and what he's doing. And like I said, it depends on your age. Man, I know Layla was talking about that they was in their 20s. Well, he's still learning. Please believe, when I talked about I had to work 3 jobs, I was in my 20s. When I was going to the check cash place, I was in my 20s. It went till I was 31 where I got the job I'm at now. I've been for over 17 years, and I'm making great money. But before, yeah, the struggle was real. But with most, I guess what they consider successful women who probably won't deal me doing it, probably not. Probably wouldn't even look my way. But now where I'm at now, they all up on me. Shout out Mike Jones. I keep referring to these rap reps. Shout out to the anniversary, man. I'm glad it's the anniversary.
You want to do something funny, Hank? They want a man like their father, but they don't want to date a man who has the same potential as their father.
Exactly. So when we talk about money, man, look, I'm about one pot. So we're gonna talk about money in the midst of this interrogation I'm gonna do when I have an interrogation of a woman and I'm vetting her. We're gonna talk about money because by the third date I'm gonna know your credit score, and I didn't need to know where you at. Because if we're gonna buy a home, you got to be able to afford to help pay for this home in case I get sick, I go down to something. We got to be able to afford to pay for this home. So we're gonna bring our money together. It's one pot around here with Hank. So yeah, we're gonna talk about money in the meantime, between time. Now, should it be mentioned more? Yeah, it should be, because money is very important. Yeah, you know, some people, you know, they look at it as a taboo or it's a dirty word. No, it's something we got to talk about. But you know, it's all about how we budget. I wouldn't date a materialistic type woman. There's no way. She's not my style. Can I afford to keep up? Yeah, but I'm not going to. It's not about material. It's about what I bring, about them other substances I bring, than just providing you with a certain bag or you on certain trips or a certain pair of shoes.
I think that's the median too, what Hank is saying. Like, we get conflated between materialistic minded people versus people who are maintaining a lifestyle. And those be conflated. And we shouldn't be trying to put those two together. I'm not modifying the type of car I drive. I'm not modifying me having internet in my house or surround sound or, you know, all these other amenities in my house. Now, things I will modify is I don't need no YSL bag. I don't need no $600 weed every 2 weeks. I don't need my nails done all the time. Those are things I can sacrifice. They're not necessary to my needs and means of survival. I can work with you on that. But when we have this conversation, a lot of times these women are talking about the fact that they can't go out to eat every Sunday. Why you need to spend that excess amount of money? It don't even make sense.
That money we pay for at that restaurant, we could buy a month's worth of grocery and eat good for at least 3 weeks. Yeah, I'm good.
All right, go ahead, Eric.
So, all great points. I'm glad everybody said what they said, but player to play and pimp to pimp. There are some male gold diggers out here. Y'all didn't hit none of that. So that's cool. Y'all got deep therapy, all this, blah, 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 boo, boo, boo. There are some players out here. For real. And you know what? Paradise, I love everything you just said. But there are men who are crafty enough and smooth enough that they could use everything you just said, manipulate it, spin it, turn around, stir it up in a pot, and give it back to you that's as smooth and sweet as you want it. I have a family of them, uncles, cousins, and they always wound up having a woman that made bread, and they didn't have it. And you always wondered why. Like, how in the world did that happen? How did they make that happen? And they lived most of their lives with, they would get a little bit of bread or a little bit of money, or they'd get like a big chunk, and then they'd do something crazy, and then the woman would always wind up helping them out. So the only point that I want to bring, all that other stuff was beautiful and true. But just remember, ladies, there are some dudes out there that's smooth. That's real smooth, that pay attention to everything you say, how you move, all that. Hank, you already know what I'm talking about, bruh. It's dudes out here that's watching. And they watching you, And they always know how to switch it up and move just like how you like it until finally you get in that spot. Layla, you just talked about that one incident. You said that second incident, but you know what? For that 5 months before he asked you for that, oh man, he was sweet.
He was
smooth. He was smoothing in the other side of the pillow. So let's be real. We ain't talking about that piece. You know what I mean? So just be mindful, ladies. That's all I'm saying. Be mindful.
That's a fact.
Let's be clear. I've had that situation. And you know what I also had? I had a guy who I knew he really wasn't into me like that. It was a very brief thing. It didn't go far. I cut him off because what he looked like on the internet, he was lying about it when I actually got to see him in person. That man reached out to me about 7 months down the line and asked me to put a loan in my name so he can get his car fixed. Don't you know I blocked him so fast?
Amen.
So they come, and I'm not negating the fact that there are male gold diggers, but more times often than not, they be real gigolo-ish. They work what's in their pants and their mouth. Conversation rule the nation.
Yeah, I understand, and it seems like this is a strong point for you. I get that, but all I'm saying is that there are some dudes out here, and I mean, I'm talking about, I know people that I know for real, like they tell me out their mouth, like, I'm not messing with a woman unless she here, or here. You know what I'm saying? It does go both ways. I think that the opinions of most of the men on this panel, like most of these, like all y'all are stand-up dudes. Like I've been on these panels with y'all before. You know what I'm saying? I've heard your opinions. I see how you move. I even see how you move on social media. So y'all pretty stand up, and y'all got some principles and some things that you really, live by. But I'm telling you, there's dudes that's out here that's their main thing. And it's cool. Like, some of these things y'all talking about are so glaring, but I'm telling you, man, it's snakes out here. I mean, there's some iceberg slims out here for real.
I agree with that. And I also wanted to, ask the panel, do you guys believe that some successful women use their money and their prestige as a method of control over men, over the men that they choose? Because from what she was saying, I hear her and I agree with what Paradise is saying, but also, why do you care so much that he's trying to be a man and chip in something? Yeah, maybe he ain't making what you're making, but he's trying to put something out there to show I'm still a man at the end of the day. Can we think that perhaps also she likes having control over her men by using her prestige, using her money? Like, are there successful women out there that are like that?
Well, the problem is that y'all see us as just men. It's just about money. And there's more to a man than just his money. I could be broker than a motherfucker, but I'm still a man. That doesn't make any difference. Doesn't make me less of a man. Doesn't make me more of a man. Of how much money I make, I'm still a man. And I'm going to move as such. Look, men, don't let these women make you move the way you need to move as a man. A woman doesn't move me like that. And it should move you as a man. Now, if you something else, that's different. We talked about that off camera, but we're not going to talk about it now. But if you a man, don't let them move you like you need to be moved. You a man. You move and operate like a king should.
Layla, have you seen All the Queen's Men by Tyler Perry?
No, I have not.
In there, it's a real distinctive storyline about a woman who is very well off. She got a lot of money, and she's literally blackmailing one of the guys in the entire series to weaponize her money because she knew he needed it. So yeah, it happens. I just think women are dishonest. We're not. It's shameful for a woman to say she bossing up a man, which is why, like, even if, and y'all may not know this, but even if you watch like Real Housewives of Atlanta, when Candy first got on, before her and Todd even got married, that was a huge part of her storyline. She take care of her men. She buy her men. So yeah, it happens. People talk about it, but it's never going to be a genuine thing when it's coming from women, because how dare you spend money on a man?
That's a fact. And also, do you guys think some of that could come from self-esteem? Because maybe she did grow up impoverished. Maybe she did grow up in a certain situation. Can we agree that her self-esteem, the reason, like we all could say, hey, if you're a certain type of caliber of a person, you're going to look for someone of the same caliber. But can't we play in the fact that self-esteem may also affect the way people vet their partners? They might be like, you know what, I might have all this money, all these options, I have all these resources, but inside I don't feel like I'm worth what I have. So I'm gonna get someone that is lesser than me and like bully them to gratify my own ego.
No, that's a fact. That's a fact. Like, just look at your adolescence as like you just being shot multiple times, and those holes remain. You grow up, but each of those holes remain, and you fill them with different things. You know, some people fill them with money, some people fill them with drugs, some people fill them with sex. You know, like Luis and Balance was talking about in terms of like therapy and healing from stuff like that, or she probably had an issue with men growing up. You know what I mean? Like they overlooked her. She, you know, wasn't the prom queen, wasn't the one that got asked to the ball or whatever. She was the one that was overlooked. She was always the friend that, you know, so she bust her ass and got to a certain level. So now I'm gonna talk my shit. You know, now that I got overlooked, I'm gonna be the one. I'm gonna be the prom queen now. You know, all them chicks that got overlooked for me, they bums. Look at me, the men. You know, so when you never address any of those things that you dealt with when you were younger, it comes out. Same way you have the man that was overlooked when he was in school, then he get a little chest on him because he been in the gym and he get a little income. Oh, please believe he's coming back with a vengeance if he don't address that, you know, and it leaves you short, you know, because he want to come back and point at everybody that looked over him and all that. Like, that's not what life is about, yo. Life is much longer than that. You know what I'm saying?
So one thing I want to say too, real quick, that just crossed my mind. I think all of this is a nuance because real talk, like, I in a way it could not be wrong because there are actually some women that want to be that for a man. Like there's literally women out there that do want to be there for a man. I mean, I've had that offer before. Like, I take care of everything. I got you. Don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need your business, whatever you need, I got you.
What?
Like it happens. It's for real. And I'm telling you, it's all about game. And really, I'm going to be real with you. Let's break it all the way down. If you're communicating from the beginning and you know what it is from the beginning, then hey, I ain't got no problem with what anybody doing, really. Because sometimes some of those women are very happy with that.
I agree.
They're very happy with that move. They're very happy with being able to dress their man and make sure what he drive and they buy what he driving. And it's, I'm telling you, man, like this conversation is a very broad conversation that can go into a lot of places. I'm telling you. And, you know, I know we're all experts and degrees and certifications and all that beautiful stuff.
Ow.
But I like to go ahead and just break it down to the real, dog. Like, I don't really, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just real, man. So some people like it like that. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, like you have men that use their handsome privilege. You know, they may not be making a lot of money, but if they look a certain way and that woman with that bag typically is not able to get somebody like that, then she's gonna make sure she keep them around for their presentation.
Or we really don't discuss the fact that women are just naturally competitive when it comes to male validation, and we won't admit it out loud. So when you say, like, from what Jay said as well as Eric, both of them hit the nail on the head, because I have seen where you got that nerd in school. He really wasn't getting much play. He really wasn't getting much energy. But somehow, some along the way, he came into himself. He got his final look. He shot up real tall, and he got a little broad shoulders and came into some money. Now he didn't know what to do. And now that different ego has got him feeling like he could talk to women any type of way, do whatever. And there are women who are going for it because they know if I see it in them, I know somebody else see it in them.
Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. Anybody else want to say one last thing before we get up off here? Going once, going twice. It gone. If you guys just tuning in, welcome to Lapeef-ing Sunday. If you haven't already, make sure to hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the sponsor again, Teach Handling Uncomplicated Skincare for Men, 30% off along with a free gift. We do have a couple of super chats that came through. Check Auto LLC, $4.99. Also, remember, says salute to the panel. Look at Paris' face, laughing emoji. Check Auto LLC again, $1.99. Also, remember, says Paris is not feeling the lady on the video. Want to thank you, Check Auto, for your donations. Again, hit that like button, family. Let's go and get into our next topic. Our next topic is when a man is so impressed by her beauty. When a man is so impressed by her beauty. Let me go ahead and play this clip.
A man with low self-esteem is he seems to be super with low self-esteem.
Are y'all paying attention, right? I'll make sure. I want to play it one time.
Absolutely.
So everybody attention. I'm going to start to play the video in 1, 2, 3. Here we go.
A woman spots a man with low self-esteem is he seems to be super impressed with her beauty. When a man is so impressed by a woman's physical beauty, she starts to have a power over him. The most beautiful woman in the world will get in line for a man who's not that attractive if he's not that impressed by her appearance. If you don't have a lot of experience with beautiful women and you haven't been around a lot of women, women smell that off you very quickly. And then they learn that they can push your boundaries. You're not going to go anywhere because she knows you can't do any better looks-wise. That's how we know a man's got low self-esteem. Whereas when a woman acts like her looks are great, he's very attracted to her, she's very beautiful, but they are not the glue for the relationship. He's not going to stay with her purely based on looks. Then she learns to respect him more. She learns that she has to bring something other than appearance and other than sex in order to keep this man.
All right. When a man is so impressed by her beauty, I'm going to go to Luis and then Balance and Gold.
Yeah, that's just a man who hasn't dated enough women or have been around enough beautiful women, you know. I think that that's probably an example for somebody who comes from like a small town and has never really been to like the big city or has never left their state or city and have gone to Miami for like spring break, and all of a sudden every attractive woman in a two-piece suit, bikini, man, is like drop dead gorgeous, and they're
Luis,
like,
you been to Miami, bro?
I have been to Miami.
I'm just checking.
Yeah, I've been to Miami. Women down there are bad. I'll admit that, but yeah, man, like that. I think there's a certain level of confidence that you need to have, especially around beautiful women, because the woman in the video, she's absolutely right. You know, women can pick up whether you have a strong sense of self. If you have a low self-esteem, they can pick that up by the conversation, your posturing, your body language. You know, just, you know, are you somebody who's like hunched over? Do you speak with, you know, with passion, with conviction, right? All these things matter. They show up, you know, in the overall presentation. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of dudes who find themselves in a circumstance where they come across a lot of money, or either they inherited, they worked hard, they put their head down, and they just got into a good place. But unfortunately, they're just not socially calibrated to be around a particular type of attractive female who has these looks and attributes and stuff like that, and sort of like they're falling apart at the seams. And sort of, I would encourage that those men be around more and more women, you know what I'm saying, just engaging in conversations and really, really understand how to navigate it, because you could easily fall victim to being a sucker. You know what I'm saying? Because once these women find that they could dog walk you, it's all over. You lost respect. And you have to maintain frame and respect for these women to, you know, take you seriously. Because if you know that she's an attractive woman, but you have access to other attractive women, she'll know that she has to do a lot more than just, put on L'Oreal and lashes. Are you?
All right, go ahead, Balancing.
You had to add the lashes, huh? No, I think it's that's hilarious. It's an immediate turn off if a man can't compose, like he can't contain himself. Like a woman's just so beautiful that you over here stuttering and you can't even speak straight. I think I can't trust you. I can't even trust you because what you gonna do when I'm not around? Like I just feel like any woman can control you just based off the way she looks. It doesn't matter, her character or anything. It's just however she looks, she could control you. And I'm gonna think there's something wrong with you, honestly. Like I wouldn't date him. I wouldn't even want to be his friend because.
Have you experienced this? Like, because it sounds like you had a little experience with this. Just ask.
Absolutely. That even men sometimes. I had a situation where a man, he'll only treat attractive women a certain way, and then women who aren't attractive, he's not nice to them. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like that has to be a mental illness. That if somebody isn't physically appealing, that you mistreat them. Something's wrong with you, or you're not as nice to them, or you're not as kind or respectful. Like you only respect pretty women. So what's going to happen in 20 years when I'm no longer the same attractive woman? You're going to disrespect me? Like I wouldn't trust you. I don't want to be your friend. You need to get therapy. Anyway.
But that's how they feel deep down inside balance.
Exactly. That's how I know that they
feel down inside. That's why they
have self-esteem issues. And who wants to date a man that has self-esteem issues? No woman. Not one I know. So that's how I feel about that. He has to be a very confident man, and he has to be able to check me regardless of how pretty I am. Because I could do some dumb stuff. And if you let me do dumb stuff and mess up our whole family, you're not a good leader. So
Balance, why your head had to start moving like that though? Y'all notice that, fella? Did you see our head start moving? And I could, at first she was looking off. I ain't really interested.
She's being honest.
Look at it.
Eric, that's that truth coming out.
Be passionate about that one.
That's why I need a strong, confident man that could check that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he can't check that, if he just lets me say and do whatever, walk all over him, come on now. Anyway, I'm done.
I know, that's right.
All right, let me go ahead and go to Jay. What are your thoughts about it, sir, when a man is so impressed by our beauty?
Yeah, I mean, you let him get away with way too much. If that's something that, and, I always compare to my younger self, that was something that I would let him get away with a lot more, as I've gotten older, and that's, you're around them enough and you realize that, okay, after you get past the beauty, what else is there? Do we have good conversations? Do you have any skills that are beneficial to us being together? Once you get past the beauty, then, you find out the real person. However, when you're sure of yourself, none of that kind of matters. You could see a beautiful woman and just take it for what it is. Like, damn, she all right. And that be that, if you're sure of yourself, like, shit, I'm all right out here. You're beautiful, but shit, I ain't nothing bad to look at. So let's move on. Now what else? You know what I mean? But when that's something that's not the norm to you, yeah, you let them get away with a little more, and they're going to test you. They're going to see what side you fall on. Like Balance was saying, she going to check him. Let me do some crazy shit and see how he react. And then he let that slide. Then she said, ruin the family. Like, that's real talk. Like, let me see just how much I could get away with when I can leave his stupid ass there and move on to the next person who's impressed by this nonsense, so you got to be sure yourself. You got to have your boundaries. You cute, but that shit is temporary, All
right. I'm going to go ahead and go to Paradise Paris. What are your thoughts about it, man? When a man is so impressed by her beauty?
Women know who to try. It's the reason why she let that go on. A lot of times, I'll say this too. A lot of times, those women are trying to stroke their own ego because you never had somebody so enamored by you. You don't want that type of man. You don't want a man you can run over. But the other caveat we ain't talking about is we promote men. So if other women see you with this man and they see how beautiful you look, and they thinking in their head, oh, he got to be doing something. You done open that door. So you can go out and play if you want to, but there's always another woman who's looking like she done domesticated him. She done broken men. Oh, now he the one. She done turned his swag up. She got him a little more cocky, a little more confident. We all seen love don't cost a thing. So yeah, it's two sides to that coin. You can definitely see when a man is insecure and he don't really want to deal with that type of woman. Sometimes they turn abusive. They try to minimize her with their words, or they try to, weaken her down. But there's also the other part of that where he get on his level and he start feeling himself because now he know he with a bad one. Especially if she start acting up and stressing him out all the time, and he get the right men in his ear, or he get that right one female friend. It's gonna be trouble in paradise for her.
All right. Go ahead, Brother Hink.
Sound like Sister Paradise sound like Sister Paradise talking about that Nancy at work. I understand. Well, look here, man. Shout out to the big women. I ain't gonna lie. During that time, during that time when I was talking about my broke hair and I was struggling, I was dating them big women, them plus size women, and women who was considered 3 and 4 and 5, because the prettier women weren't trying to get women because I'm broken them up. But you know what that taught me? Had to have a conversation with a woman, had to talk to a woman, and realize they're no different. On the aesthetics, it's only difference. Their mindset still got the same. They want the same things. Ugly women want the same things. Pretty women want the same things. Doesn't matter. So for them, they help my game. They allow me to build up my confidence, my swagger, what I need to do, how I need to talk to them. And when I got with the pretty women, hey, I was all good. I didn't have a problem telling a woman no. Not at all. I don't care how pretty you are. I will tell you no, because I don't think you deserve it. Why? My time is valuable. You ain't shit to me. You a dime a dozen. And I treat you as such. So yes, I mean, men, don't be overly impressed with a beauty, because like you said, will the women take advantage of it? Yes, they will. And they should. If they see a weak-minded man and is just drooling all over and don't know how to act, like Malice said, stumbling and stuttering and all that, yeah, take advantage of it. Get your free drinks, get your meal, put them in the phone as meal plan. Do what you do, but when you mess with that real man, get ready to hear you be told no. You're going to get rejected. You're going to get turned away. You're going to get left at a goddamn restaurant.
But again, I mean, this is an example that's being shown of either one or two things. It's either a young man who's either between the ages of 18 and like maybe 28-ish. I would like to give some bail if the dude is over the age of 28, that dude is not moving out. I still think that that's a very young-minded man or male, right? At this point, like, can't say it's a man, it's a male. I would like to think that there are men who have graduated beyond that point. Although there are exceptions and dudes that are moving like that, I still think that this is a younger man that we're talking about specifically. This archetype of person. I know the brother expressed and probably thinks otherwise.
All right, go ahead, Layla.
So I also agree with what she's saying. When it comes down to just looks and the more physical, if you are a type of dude that's not used to that, yeah, and you're drooling over this chick, I agree with exactly what Balance was saying. I'm not gonna trust you, and I don't want to be a friend either. Like, that means anybody that has the right smile, the right assets, the right lashes can get your attention. And when, like, I think social media is kind of a prime example. Men give these women on social media all this attention, all of this, hey, in the DM, what's up, beautiful, gorgeous, whatever it is. And then when somebody that's just regular, that doesn't have a filter on, whatever comes around, they treat them crazy. And then they wonder why they can't find a partner that stays with them for them. A lot of times these women that have all of these looks, and I'm not talking about just in general a pretty woman. I'm talking about the woman that's getting her body done, the woman that's making herself plastic, putting herself out there with her weaves, wigs, whatever, lashes, nails. Those type of females, they'll be like, okay, yeah, he likes me, I like this attention. But as soon as she finds someone that treats her like a person, she's with that person. That's the person she wants to be with. No woman wants to be with a guy that's drooling over him. You need to be able to check that woman, whether she's pretty or not. You need to still be able to lead her in a relationship, whether she's pretty or not. So I fully agree with what this lady's saying and what everybody else said.
Yeah, I don't know about the wigs and all that shit you just named off as a good woman, a ready woman. That woman ain't shit to me. She's a goddamn clown. She coming off as fake as hell. I can't take her serious.
Fake as hell. Fake as hell.
Hell yeah. You lying to me. You putting on the goddamn front.
You ever see those videos where they take off the makeup and some of them got fake teeth and everything, and you see what?
That's just disgusting, baby. I'm gonna be honest. That shit is disgusting.
Yeah. Guys, just tuning in. Welcome to Lapeef-ing Sunday. Make sure you hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Shout out to my brother Ricky. What's going on, Ricky? Where's 189 says people confuse attractive or sexy with beauty. Thank you, Ricky, for that contribution. Oh yeah, hit that like button again, y'all. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the conversation. We know the ladies like to meet. Ow. With that being said, here we go. Age gap relationships. Age gap relationships. We'll go ahead and play this clip. Let me know when y'all ready. Everybody ready? Y'all good? Louise, Eric, y'all ready? All right.
A woman spots a man with low self-esteem is he seems to.
It might not be in. That's the old one. Let me get rid of that one. I'm actually, are y'all ready? I'm not even ready, right? So here we go. I got to pull it up. Balance, you there? Okay. All right, here we go.
A girl who's 30 or 40, she's going to have loads of baggage, loads of trauma. We don't want to deal with trauma. We want someone with less trauma, so let's go for someone as young as possible. A healthy, emotionally stable 22-year-old is not usually physically attracted to a 45-year-old or even a 40-year-old. A 22-year-old tends to see a 35-year-old as an old man, yeah? But when she starts to blur the line with older men and sexuality, it suggests that there is some childhood trauma potentially regarding her father. Because the reality is, if you had a stable father figure in your home, you wouldn't be able to sexualize a man that looks around the same age as your father. Men who have good relationships with their children as well can't sexualize that kind of woman because they've got children that age, and they know how stupid their children are, and they know how naive their daughters are, and they know how much they would hate it if somebody their age was dating their daughter. So they have a healthy perception of reality. So if that 22-year-old is even dating that 44-year-old, you're thinking, oh, less trauma. It's embedded trauma. The trauma exists pre-men.
She said a lot, man. I think it deserves just another replay. So make sure we're on the same page. Here we go.
If you meet a girl who's 30 or 40, she's going to have loads of baggage, loads of trauma. We don't want to deal with trauma. We want someone with less trauma, so let's go for someone as young as possible. A healthy, emotionally stable 22-year-old is not usually physically attracted to a 45-year-old or even a 40-year-old. A 22-year-old tends to see a 35-year-old as an old man, yeah? But when she starts to blur the line with older men and sexuality, it suggests that there is some childhood trauma potentially regarding her father. Because the reality is, if you had a stable father figure in your home, you wouldn't be able to sexualize a man that looks around the same age as your father. Men who have good relationships with their children as well can't sexualize that kind of woman because they've got women, they've got children that age, and they know how stupid their children are, and they know how naive their daughters are, and they know how much they would hate it if somebody their age was dating their daughter. So they have a healthy perception of reality. So if that 22-year-old is even dating that 44-year-old, you're thinking, oh, less trauma. It's embedded trauma. The trauma exists pre-men.
All right, here we go. Age gap relationships. Go ahead, Brother Hink. What are your thoughts about it?
Well, I'm just going to ask a question. So she sounds like she's against it. I don't know. I was kind of confused with that. 1 minute, she sounds like she's for it. Next minute, she sounds like she's against it. I don't know. As far as me, I couldn't see myself dating that much of a younger woman. Like she's saying, as a 44-year-old man dating a 22. Yeah, we're not going to really relate a lot of stuff. If I can't sit there and talk to you about old reruns of Martin, yeah, I can't get with you, man. I'm sorry. This ain't going to work. It's just not going to work because I want to be able to have the conversation where we can have a good, wholesome conversation, talk about money, politics, and all that. And most 22-year-olds don't want to talk about none of that stuff, right? So it's going to be kind of hard to relate to somebody that young. And I couldn't imagine at the age of 45 starting all over again, maybe having kids. Now I'm looking at about 65, 70 before my kids are, maybe grown and moving on out and doing their own thing. Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do that. And but I'm not going to knock for those who do, who's into that, who's on to, date a woman that young or date a man that young, whatever the case may be. Hey, good luck with that. It's just not something for me.
All right. Go ahead, Jay. What are your thoughts about it, the age gap relationship?
I mean, I've never done it. I mean, what would you consider an age gap relationship? Like, what would it start? Are you talking like 10 years or more? Are you talking 5 years or more? Like, I've never done it. The most I've been is probably like 4 to 6 years in between that. I've never gone past that. I think probably the furthest I would do is 10, because then I feel like it would get a little murky, so. But I can see what she's saying, and it does sound accurate. Hank, I think she's against it because she's saying like we would be dating younger to avoid baggage and trauma. However, the trauma is embedded because most people are not able to sexualize somebody that's a father figure to them or somebody that's a mother figure to them. So, there's initially some, trauma in their adolescence that caused them to be able to even do that in the first place. So I've never even really thought of it that way. But just me, myself personally, I couldn't see it. I'm too like old school to even try to, I'm not the old dude in the club. I strive not to be that person, the damn 60-year-old with the Sean John jean suit, with the damn earpiece in. Like, I definitely don't want to be that guy. So I try to keep it where we can have a conversation and there's not much of an age barrier as far as us being able to talk about shows, politics, pop culture references. I would like to be able to share that with the person I'm with.
Yeah, I often know we talk about age gap relationships on these platforms, but Jay hit it on the money. She was saying that basically we're looking to date women in their early ages, early 20s, to avoid the trauma. But she's basically saying that if a woman has a good relationship with her father, then any man that's that age, she's going to look at them as like her father, like, ew, that's nasty. So the fact that she's dating men that are the age around her father just suggests that she's still experiencing some form of trauma because she didn't have that. And the same thing with men. If men haven't had good relationships with their daughter, then they're looking at younger women, like they're preying on younger women, which suggests that men that are preying on younger women, that they also have trauma, because if they had a good relationship with their daughters, then they will look at it. And I have spoken with people that have daughters. I don't have a 22-year-old, but the men that do have 22-year-olds, it's hard for them to look at it because it's like dating my daughter. I've heard them say that. So that's basically what she was saying. It was a different spin to it. But I'm curious as to get some of you guys' thoughts about it. Let me go ahead and go to balancing codes. What are your thoughts about it, ma'am? Age gap relationships.
This is interesting because when I was a 22-year-old woman, I would never look at an older man and be like, yeah, like he's attractive. Never. I'm ugh. Like, I'm like that. Yeah, I agree. It's like my father. It's like, why would I be attracted to you? You're old. Like, you couldn't even run a race with me. This is strange. Like, I don't need this around me. You don't understand any culture that I'm talking about. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. No. But once I got 28, though, this is my personal experience. Once I got 28 and I dated like two guys who were closer to my age, and I thought they were so mentally stunted and immature that at 28 I was like, no, I need me an older man because these 20-year-old boys are kids. I felt like I was babysitting, and I felt like I was a teacher, and it wasn't fun. And I felt like I was too mature for the situation for men my age. When I was 28, a 28-year-old man, it was torture. I felt like I was babysitting all the time. So I think it changes as you age as a woman. A 22-year-old woman is very, very different than a 28-year-old woman. So I just want to make that clear. So as a 28-year-old woman, I was like, let me open it up to the 30s and later 30s and see how that worked. And that's what I did personally. And it worked for me personally. I preferred that situation because I don't want to offend people, but I do believe in many instances, women mature faster than men. That's my personal opinion. Y'all can argue with me, but you're not going to change my mind. So I don't really care. My personal opinion, men take longer to mature.
I don't care.
So, but I have no issue with it. Like a 28-year-old woman dating a 35, even 38-year-old man. I think that's perfectly healthy. I think it's okay. I think that it probably can last. That's just my opinion. So I'm gonna leave it there.
All right, go ahead, Luis. Your thoughts about it, sir?
Yeah, Balance did a really good job summing that up. I know they have like the calculator where it says, half your age plus 7. But even when you do that, it still feels way too much of a disconnect because of the level of maturity, like, just like Jay said, like, certain cultural references, you just know too much. You've just been exposed to too much. You're probably much more well-traveled, much more well-read, just much more exposed to people of different walks of life, different experiences, right? And it's kind of hard to create synergy with somebody who hasn't yet gone through all those steps in life. They can learn some things from you and they'll get things from you, but I just don't think that that other person will appreciate that as much. I just want to give some reference for context because I know we're talking about it from a dating perspective, and I want to kind of give the marriage perspective. So about 34% of all marriages are within 1 or 2 years where the husband is older. About 19.5% of all marriages are 2 to 3 years where the husband is older, right? And then, 4 to 5 year gaps, it's about 13%. And then 6 to 9 year gap, that's about 11%. And then it just keeps going lower and lower. 10 to 14, 5% of marriages are 10 to 14% age gap, right? So it is much more prevalent that people are within 1 or 2 years at a high marriage rate, but within that 5-year gap, they're about consistent. You know what I'm saying? It only makes sense that you see that smaller number grow further apart as the number of marriage percentage gets smaller, is because if you look at those people, they tend to be in a higher economical bracket. Like they make, I think, 10 times fold more. So there's a larger separation as it pertains to money. But yeah, I think as a culture at large, if you look at, dating apps and you look at what women tend to kind of filter in terms of like their age gap preference, if a young woman that's 26, out of college doing things or whatever, she's typically going to look to a man that's a little bit more seasoned, a little bit more experienced, a little bit more settled in his way. Going back to the previous videos, right? Women not trying to build a man or build with the man, but have some or date a man who's already a little bit more established and seasoned. So yeah, I think there's some truth to the age gap myths, but as it pertains to women, being a little bit much older and much more wiser in their walks of life, I think they tend to kind of age men who are typically 6, 8, or maybe possibly 10 years older than them.
All right. Go ahead, brother Eric. What are your thoughts about the age gap relationships?
Well, it's something else. So let's take a walk in history. There was a time when nobody even talked about age. And this doesn't even have to do with just black people. There was a time that cats was marrying women that was 15, 16 years old. I mean, it's real. Because most of y'all are from that Southern descent, and y'all know in the South, that's what it was. There are so many people who used to do that. And like I said, man, I got family members, man, that did that type of thing. My mother was married at 15 years old. Matter of fact, by the time she was 17, she had to have 2 abortions, not by her own choice, because older men were with her. So in a way, that's been something that's perpetuated over time. And what happens is this: on the man's side, if he has not found that one relationship that has kept him or engaged him or whatever, for whatever reason, he's always looking to something that may be a little bit younger. I've even had, certain uncles, mention certain things to me like that, which was wild. Now, the other thing that I want to mention is this, is that there is a large gap generationally, period, with younger and older individuals. Social media shows you that. If you really look at social media and look at it closely and study it, social media really isn't for an older person. That's why everybody tries to run older people to Facebook. So real talk, if someone is trolling Instagram mostly, they're on Instagram to look at Instagram models. They on Instagram to look at younger women, and they on your Instagram to really kind of be attracted to those younger girls. Now, from the lady side, that's fine if you're talking about a well-balanced young lady. But with the way society is painting this picture now, nobody mentioned the sugar daddy role. Nobody even talked about that yet. And sugar daddies average 45, 50, and on up. You feel me? And guess what? We've got Blue Chews being advertised on every other video. We've got Viagra all over the place. So that's cool that y'all saying, ooh, ooh. It's a lot of them, man. They ain't saying ooh. They saying ah. You know what I'm saying? And they're getting it in for whatever reasons. Now, you may not be able to relate to them and, pop culture and all that stuff, whatever. But I found people that have found commonality and they actually enjoy themselves. I've got one good friend right now that's dating a young lady that's far younger than him, and they're having a magnificent time. Now, are they going to get married? Are they going to, have a family? Who knows? But, whatever floats your boat is whatever. But those are just some points that I just wanted to bring out. And, oh, by the way, old girl that's talking, like, with that accent, how she dressed and how she was raised, sometimes I don't even think people like that are even qualified to speak on certain things. So I'm just putting that out there.
Well,
she's a psychiatrist.
Psychiatrist. Look, I like psychiatrists.
Psychiatrist. The other one.
Psychologist.
Yeah, I get that. But like, this is just my preference. I want somebody sometimes that can halfway relate to me. Or maybe even relate to the situation, or know somebody that knows somebody that can kind of get into that situation. That's just me. it's hard for me to just listen to somebody that's like, statistics are good. I love stats because, you know, that separates opinion from fact. But also sometimes when someone has went through a little bit of something, I can vibe with them a little bit better than they can pull me out of the abyss. So sometimes people like that, it's hard for me to listen to. That's just me.
Why couldn't you relate to her? Was it her accent? I just want to know why you couldn't relate to her. Like, what was it?
I didn't relate to her because I thought she was talking about white people based off of how she prefaced that entire conversation, because I come from the country. So even when you were saying, oh, well, at that age, I was looking at a 30-year-old man like, ew, I was 22 and dating a 30-year-old man. And I do have a father. I do not have no father issues. There was no trauma. I think when you're talking culture and you're talking environment, certain things look different for certain people. And we try to box everybody in like, oh, there's something wrong. I've always been more mature than my peers. Always. I have 3 friends that are in my age group that I grew up with from home. Everybody else I hung out with, 9 years older than me, 12 years older than women, 12 years older than me. They had more experience. I was learning more things from older women and how to carry myself like a lady and how to act like a lady, and, you know, getting a different idea of their experience and what they were dealing with men around their age and older. So I think when she was talking, I found nothing relatable to anything that she was saying, because that wasn't the environment I grew up in, nor was that my experience. I don't have no trauma from my dad. He's a wonderful man.
Eric, how old is the age, if you had to guess, your friend that you were speaking on, just having a wonderful time?
Oh, you talking about my dude?
Yeah, what's the age gap?
Oh, my dude's about like, what, he just turned 52? And she is definitely in her 20s.
I want to say this.
Grinning and skinning and having a good time and enjoying themselves. And look, the coolest thing about it is, and Balance Coach, you're gonna get Balancing Coach, you're gonna get what I'm about to say. She's a very mature, like 20-something. And he is a very trendy 50-something. So like now he's a trendy 50-something, you know what I'm saying? In shape, looking good, you know what I'm saying? Got the little gray popping, you know what I'm saying? He turning corners.
But
and then she has a very intelligent conversation. And those younger dudes really ain't talking about nothing, because they talking about the same thing that they see on social media. They talking about bending somebody over and doing this and doing that and yet. And she's like, I'm really not interested in that. So when they got together, they bonded.
But I think that's something that needs to be discussed, because there are some men that get into situations, whether they're incarcerated or not, and they never mentally develop past whatever stage they were in life. They get older, but they don't mature. And so when you sitting there talking about a man is 51 and he want to date a 22-year-old.
No, see, he didn't want to date. It just happened.
No,
that's what I'm saying. Like, it ain't.
Not your friend. I'm just saying in general, like, we never had this discussion in depth. More times when it comes up, it's talked as if the women are victims, they're being groomed, and that women don't have autonomy. But these are the same women who go into a strip club at 19 years old and go crazy. And they go sign up, they go read, they go know everything that's happening. Or we sit there and try to make it seem like these women are some victim, but how we know that she ain't purposely put herself in a situation to look out to get that man, to prey on him. We don't know that, because I know me, when I look at men, I don't go, dang, he look old. I go, he fine. That's how we think. We think he's attractive.
That's how I'm saying.
When we had this conversation, it's so weird because we only talk about it from one perspective. Women dealing with older men, and then we always try to find something wrong with the men. But the reality of it is, everybody not mentally on the same page. Some of us are in groups with people we would have never been in the classroom with.
Hey, your face is so confused. Like,
I'm confused. Like,
she confused me when she talked about that prison dude. That just took me left with that shit. God
Hey,
damn.
right. She talking about Pookie.
That's a truthful thing.
Yeah.
She talking about Pookie.
There are some men who go to prison, they never mentally develop. They get older, but they, whatever age they went in, they stay there. That's a real
Yeah,
psychological.
woman should be messing with no dude that was in prison or out of prison.
I'm just saying that happens. You can't sit here and say a man who went in at 19 and he stayed in prison for 7 years, he got out at 26, and then you go and now he's 45 talking about he want to date a 21-year-old. You run around walking thinking why he's sagging, why he talking like this. He don't know how to act his age. He not a man. Well, technically, mentally, he's not. That happens.
Hey, Paradise, you mentioned a couple of Tyler Perry references. Like that sounded like a straight up Tyler Perry movie you just brought out. Because I don't even know if we was right there. But all I'm saying. But listen, this all I'm saying. This all I'm saying. I'm just saying that I've seen it work, and I've seen people enjoy one another. You know what I'm saying? Like for real, like I understand the stats on marriage. I understand all those things, but you have to understand that the society that we live in and everything that's being pumped into our systems on a daily basis, right? If you got a phone, if you got a TV, if you got anything with a screen, this stuff is being pumped into you. And real talk, the same thing's being pumped into people who are in their 20s and in their 50s, for real. And if people are actually consuming these things, then a lot of the things that they will have a lot of things that they deem or will think in their minds to be compatible. And if those things seem to be compatible, man, it's going to be some sneaky links going on for real.
I just have a question. Using Facebook, older and younger people, they still using Facebook. We all.
But do y'all understand what I'm saying? Do you understand where I'm coming from with that? Like, you really got to look at society and what's coming on. Like, people falling for the okie doke, but not in the tailpipe, for real.
I think Balance.
Yeah, that's an older reference, by the way.
All right, Balance had a question. Go ahead.
I have a question. Express your perspective. People in the comments are calling you sugar daddy. I thought that was funny, but that wasn't my question. My question is for the men.
I got stevia, not sugar. I got stevia.
Okay. For all the men that are on the panel, are any of you guys currently married? Anybody on the panel married? Jay, you married? No. No. So nobody. All right. So this is my example. Like, all of these men on the panel, I don't really know you yet. Express your perspective. But everybody else, they seem like good dudes to me. They really do. And none of them are married. And I know they're all past 40. I don't know your age exactly, but I know y'all all past 40, right? Luis?
No.
Well,
you know I'm 56. So
okay, I don't think you're a 56 JR, but I'm gonna leave it alone. I know black don't crack, so it's possible, but I doubt it. But
I'm not past 40.
Okay, but
and I don't think Luis.
I don't think
Luis.
All of y'all are over 35, but these are good men. So what I'm saying is, we could see all these good men. They're single, right? So, I mean, yes, men could be great men and take a while to mature or take a while to get married. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's something wrong with them, that they're sugar daddies, that they're any of those things. They're maybe just waiting on the right woman for them. So I see there's a lot of good single men out here, and they happen to be older men. So if a woman 28 wants to date one of those men who may be 35 and older, I think she should go for it. I'm going to leave it there.
Go ahead, Layla. What are your thoughts about it, man? Age gap relationship.
Okay. So this is coming from someone who dates older. I know. I date older.
I knew it.
I will say.
Knew it. I knew it.
How did you know?
I knew it. Hank, dog, I knew it, Hank. I knew it, dog. I knew it.
First of all,
you know that, Hank? You can check the vibe. You right next to it. You
we got a connection.
I can't even.
Thing, dog. I knew it, dog.
It's always not a time she had to finally admit it.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you guys my logic, and I'll give it from both, I guess, trauma perspective and then just kind of what balancing code said, like similar. So I would say my first relationship with an older dude was definitely more trauma based. I have my dad around, but he was not as active. He was not as active till I got older. You know, he had other kids, you understand? So my first relationship with an older dude, I was 20 something. He was 50 something. I definitely feel like he thoroughly took advantage. Yeah, I swear to God, yo. I feel like he did kind of take advantage of something. At that age, like my early 20s, I was more quiet. I kept to myself. My personality wasn't like boom, boom, like it is now. I was more quiet. And I meet this guy, and here he is. Now, first of all, when I say he's 50 something, he did not look 50 something, not at all. Very much what Eric said. He didn't look like it. He has swag. He didn't talk like it. There was nothing about him that screams, I'm 50 years old. If I had to guess, I thought he was in his early 40s, to be honest. But he's sitting here like giving me intellectual conversation ever since I was young. I'm a bookworm. I love reading books. I'm a nerd. Okay. I'll be the first to say it. So here you have somebody who has this swag, and he also can speak my language as far as intellectual conversations. I don't care too much about pop culture, so that wasn't what we were entertaining. And it was a little thing. It didn't really last very long, and the reason was because at some point or another, something in me was like, this doesn't make me feel good. I was like young, he was older. At some point in time in my head, I'm like, this doesn't make me feel good. Not that I had a problem with the fact he was older. It was just the fact that I felt like he was grooming me as an adult, if that makes sense. Does that make sense, people? I felt like he was grooming me as an adult. Even though I was an adult, he was kind of his way of doing things. He would tell me little stuff that he didn't like I do. Oh, you look good when you do that. I don't like when you do this. And he was giving me these little things, like these little details to change little bits of my personality to kind of submit to what he's looking for in a female. He was trying to create something. And the word he used that kind of snapped everything in, because I guess, he didn't think I understood words. He said, you're very young and impressionable. So I was like, so you're telling me that I'm young and you're able to manipulate me to be the way you want me to be. So that was my first experience. And I think that was based off of trauma, coming out of high school, going into college, kind of to myself, quiet. And then you have someone giving you all this attention, love bombing, blah, blah, blah. That is an example of a man that took advantage, in my opinion. Now, me at my age, which I'm only a couple strokes from 20 now. I have dated people my age. Like in my 20s, I dated someone close to my 20s, just the same as Balance. And it was the same thing. Our conversation wasn't the same. They were not interested in the same things I was interested in. It was like two different worlds completely. So that opened me up to, hey, 30s, maybe early 40s, maybe I could do this. And I was okay with it. I felt like the relationship was more functional with someone older. And it wasn't because I was traumatized at that point in time, because as I said, my dad later started doing more and whatever. I not once, even when I was talking to a 50-something-year-old, thought, oh, he reminds me of my dad. I didn't even think of that even a little bit, because he didn't act like it. He was mad immature. Like in hindsight review, he was mad immature, right? Now, at my age, dating someone older, it is still appealing, because it's like the conversation is there. Most men, it's between their 30s and 40s, they're starting to feel a little bit more established, a little bit more themselves. They've gone through a few little things that they can offer something a little different. They've had their, I want to have hormones and run around and do the craziness. So between the 30s and 40s, I'm like, you know what? I can live with being with someone that is older. I can talk to them. I can have conversation. They're more comfortable in their own skin, I feel personally. So in my head, I'm like, I get what the lady's saying. I feel like that's based around just the mentality of older men grooming and trying to manipulate younger women. But there are younger women that love older men, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's totally okay. If you need you a sugar daddy, go get you a sugar daddy. I ain't here to judge. Do what you do. Do what makes you happy, because at the end of the day, after 21, I say after 21 because everyone says 18, you're adult, but we know you're an adult after 21. After 21, those are your life decisions. If you have trauma and you have issues and you find yourself trying to find a father in a man, then I agree. Maybe therapy, maybe you need to take a reflection of yourself. But I could say right now, I'm confident. I have no daddy issues. I don't have those problems, whatever it was. And I love older men, like whatever. It's whatever. Dudes my age, even now, they're just starting to get it, and the conversation's not the same. So I get what the lady's saying from both perspectives, a trauma perspective, but I also get it as a woman that knows what she wants too. So yeah.
Can I give you some knowledge from OG Hink, if you don't mind?
Go ahead.
It doesn't matter the age. A man is going to groom you the way he wants to groom you anyway. It doesn't matter. At 48, I'm going to groom you in the way I want you to be. So, because you got to learn me, right? So you could consider manipulating. I love fried chicken, but I really don't need a lot of fried chicken in my life. So I want you to, kind of mix it up every once in a while. When y'all say chicken, throw some baked chicken there every once in a while. Just some grilled chicken, right? You know what I'm saying? But I love chicken.
But I don't consider that grooming in the same way. I don't consider that grooming in the same way.
It is. It's just a smaller scale. It's a smaller scale on doing it. We're going to groom you into the way we want. I'm gonna show you how I like the intimacy, whether it's sexual or just physical touch. Maybe certain shows are little quirks about me. I'm gonna teach you that's what I am. That's how I move. You know what I'm saying? There's all type of ways that we're grooming you in ways you just don't realize. Maybe you think it's not as harsh or is extreme, that it's not grooming, but it is.
You're right. The only difference is the man you listen to willingly versus the man you listen to forcefully. That's it. We all get groomed the same way. You have women. I remember in the 90s they used to say stuff like, or in the 80s, those old TV sitcoms, they say stuff like, you can't teach a dog new tricks. That's how they refer to men. Or you got to train him. Basically it was a form of grooming. It was a form of manipulation. We all get groomed into being the best partner that the other person wants us to be. However, it's again the person that you willingly listen to versus the person that you forcefully listen to. That's on you.
Or the person that you ignorantly listen to too. If
Absolutely.
you don't know better, you can't do better. And I think that's I don't disagree with that either. I mean, ultimately, yeah. I just hate the word grooming for that. I just feel like if you're leading the relationship and this is what you want your person to understand you, your quirks or whatever. My whole thing is like, I don't look at it as grooming. I get by definition it's grooming, but I just hate that word because when I think grooming, I think of somebody taking advantage of a situation. So I don't deny what you're saying. I totally agree. But when you hear the term grooming, the way society has it out there, that's different. Like, the way it sounds is different. So I don't like the word, but I agree. You learn your person's nuances. You learn your person's what they like and dislike. Yeah.
But it's no difference than a woman saying, oh, my man would never. When she looking at you and your man to never. It's no different than a man saying, I would never allow my woman to do something like that. But somebody else's man did, so we don't like words that have been utilized with a negative connotation, but that does not mean that they can't be applicable in certain situations.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You go ahead and read
I
the
agree.
definitions of grooming. Sometimes it's good to learn. I know I learn every day. You guys can see that from the super chat. So I have a huge vocabulary list that I've created. I even trace sometimes periodically through the show. But grooming is the practice of brushing and cleaning the coat of a horse, dog, or other animal. Definition number 2 is the practice of preparing or training someone for a particular purpose or activity. And my Eric, you got a stalk over there?
Oh, my bad.
I couldn't even text no more, man. I'm 56 and them sounds started to get a little bit irritable. I got to put it on silent or do not disturb.
Hey, it's the people in the chat hitting me, dog. I don't know what's going on. Thank you for the platform. That's all I can say.
Okay.
But can you mute your mic? Thank you.
My fault. It was on my bad.
Man. I got some action tonight. Grooming, yeah. So the one that applies is the practice of preparing or training someone for a particular purpose or activity. After hearing that definition, Layla, does it still bother you?
No, I literally know the definition. I know the definition. I'm just saying, in context, the way the word has been demonized to be affiliated with something disgusting or disturbing is I could know the definition all day, but it just sounds terrible. So I get it. I totally get it. And I don't disagree with it. Training your person to be the way you want. But then there's adult grooming where there's somebody that's taking advantage of someone that maybe they don't know better. And so now you're manipulating them to be something that you want them to be against their will, technically, because they don't know better. You're taking advantage of a situation. So I agree with both ways. Like, I get it. I get the definition. I just hate how the word's been changed and demonized to become something disgusting. You feel me?
Well, did you guys know that Instagram is grooming you?
That's what I was about to.
Yep.
I was about to go there, bro. And also, let me ask this: is that any different than when women say they're training their man? Because y'all done heard that before. Like, he's being trained, you see what I'm saying, to be this, that, and the other. So really, to me, those two terms are interchangeable. And you know what I'm saying? Like, but then, Hank, I hear what you saying, like, because when a woman is training her man, all those things you said, she's like communicating what she like, how she like it, when she like it, blah, blah, blah. So really, I think the thing that separates both is the motive behind it. I think we need to talk about motive and intention.
I agree.
Motive and intention means everything in this.
All right. Want to say something, Jay? All right.
Well, I was gonna say, sound like Balance is trying to do some grooming right now of this muting their phones and stuff like that in the back.
So I am outspoken. Like, I'm going to speak my Everybody felt it, but if I have to be the one to say it verbally, I'm okay with that.
It's because you're grooming. You're trying to groom.
It's
you
for
try
the
to
best
groom
of the
her.
team. It's for the best of the team. Like, I'm a leader too, so it's for the best of the team. If nobody else is going to say anything, count on me.
Teamwork makes the dream work. I got you, Bounce.
Yeah. To be honest, I had no idea what that was.
I'm expressing my perspective. That's all. That's all I'm doing.
Balance ain't shit.
She all good. She all good. I love that. Give me some more. I love that. Give me more.
Men in their 50s, they love that. They love it.
That's a fact.
We masochists. Give it to us. Ah.
You said, man, that face like you put in their place, huh? Okay. Yeah, man, that's.
Yeah, is that what we look forward to? I mean, goddamn.
No. You know, there are some men that I don't get it. They're walking around on all fours with a sock in their mouth or something like that. I'm like, give it to me. All that. No. I think that might be something. I don't know what class that is, but yeah. What's going on, Trigger Mike? See Trigger Mike in the chat.
What's up, Trigger Mike?
Yeah.
Hey, Trigger Mike.
I was watching this show and Kelly put me onto it, but it was Black Mirror, like the nosedive with the rating. Is it old? Or is this something that's been out?
Isn't like Black Mirror ongoing? It's been around for a minute.
Yeah,
it's been out.
It's about 3 years at least.
Okay, yeah. So I don't really watch too much Netflix and shows or something like that. But a couple nights ago, I looked at the nosediving one with the rating, and I was just like, "Damn, that shit is crazy." How everybody had a rating, and if you really think about what's going on today, it's kind of similar. So when I said that social media is grooming you, I think a lot of people don't even realize, and sometimes you get sucked in, but every now and then I put it down. I look like, man, everybody on their phone. And so I think we need to understand what's going on and the purpose that they have. Because Instagram is a business. Instagram is a business, and they have no problem, just like the government and everybody else, of using you in order for a financial gain. So whether it may be your freedom, your mind, your choice, whatever they got to do in order to generate money is what they're going to do. So it's going to be up to you to think outside of that bubble and to make sure that you use it for beneficial reasons and not have your mind going in places. I mean, even it's crazy how people utilize it. People want you to know positive attention, and they want you to know what they're feeling. It's important for the world to know what you're feeling. A lot of times people find out what you're feeling via social media. Sometimes you have no idea. Think about even people that's done something and God forbid it, but they go to social media and then the signs were there. So they're not even communicating no more. So I think we need to get in the habit of having these conversations. I've had discussions too, as far as families eating dinner at the table all together and put the phones to the side and don't bring the phones to the table. The kids are asking, can they watch something while they eat? They want to watch the grown men on YouTube play a game and talk, and they watch it for hours. So let's just help the community in any way possible.
CJ, I see you in your Mel Gibson mode right now. I see what's going on.
No, Brother Hank, when you get my age and you live a long life, you just see a lot, man. You've been around the blocks.
Speak that wisdom, my brother. Speak that wisdom.
OG status is what they say. What's up, OG?
I know that's right.
Yeah. I don't walk past.
You got to school some of these young kids sometime, man. You got to school them sometime.
Like when they come and get the garbage cans, I pull them in. I don't just walk past them. So, if it's clearly if it's upside down or the top is open, they came. So I pull them in, Brother Hink. All right, with that being said, man, another great show. Any final thoughts, anybody? I do got a couple super chats got to get through. So while y'all thinking those final thoughts, if you have any, let me get through these. Ricky Williams again says people read that one already. Shout out to you, brother Ricky. Enter the Black Dragon $10 says, I'm 41, she's 21, trying to date women my age. I found them to be jaded, bitter, and hostile. She came for me. We have mature convos. We both value marriage / kids. And I'm in a place I can do this right. So it's always situational. I think what she was saying is that you got to be mindful of their trauma there too. So even though while we thinking we are avoiding trauma, it may be some trauma there as well. So ask those important questions so you can dig into their past and have those deep conversations. Into the Black Dragon $2 says, what are your thoughts or questions? I'm here for it. I guess he got some questions. He was willing to have
questions. You just told him. You said investigate, ask the right questions. He was saying comment on his situation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's what you said. You said investigate, which is accurate. Make sure it's not a what do you call it when a fetish?
Yeah.
That's so legit.
King said 499 says, I was in high school, all the pretty girls were getting picked up by older dudes. Us young guys ain't have a chance.
Factual.
Dedicated to my children's future, $5 also member says, hope everyone is enjoying this relaxing conversation. Sunday energy, strong arm emoji, respect to the stars on the panel and the chat. I'll call the stars, man. I feel like a celebrity, man. Thank you for that. Let's see. Any final thoughts, anybody? Anybody want to help the people? Anybody that's wise on the panel that want to spread some of that wisdom?
People, if you know better, you'll do better. So if you don't know better, you won't do better. That's simple.
Just like the good sister at Balancing Code said, everything that we talked about tonight, real talk, and I'm joking and laughing and whatever, but real talk, everything we talked about is laced into some type of thing that you may have dealt with or had to, get over in your life. So getting with people to really dig deep into what some of that stuff is will help you get over some of these issues that we've talked about tonight, whether it's a therapist, whether it's a coach, whatever it is. So I just recommend that you would do that so that then you could be better for yourself and then you can be better for somebody else.
I like that. Like that.
I
Come on,
agree.
Jay, man. Spread some of that wisdom, Jay. You got to shine some of that light, man.
Got
People
nothing, man. Health, wealth, and keep your hands to your motherfucking self. That's all I got, man.
What about you, Louise? Paradise.
We got to stop boxing people into all these stigmas. No relationship looks alike.
Oh, that is so real. That is so real.
No one relationship ever looks alike.
Absolutely.
All right. I want to post this link real quick. Somebody say something while I just get this link.
It's look, I think it was another banger for the books for the Sunday crew, man. I appreciate all you guys who keeps coming out every Sunday, man, doing y'all thing, man. Y'all bring your perspective. Definitely, I'm sure some young folks out here are definitely gained some knowledge, as well as they got a little bit wiser than they was this morning. Because I know the pastor didn't do anything but force them to put their hands in the collection plate. But we had a real sermon here. Happy Sunday, baby. Happy Sunday. Balance, why you smile? Like, what's going on, Balance? What did I say wrong?
Hey, I just think you're hilarious. That's all.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
It's funny every time you say something. 90% of the time, I'm gonna laugh. It's funny.
Let me ask you a question, Balance. Are you familiar with who Mariah Mills is?
Nope.
Okay.
Sadly, I know who she is, and I have a lot of good words for that lady.
Why you ask that?
Speak on it, then. Speak on it.
Why you ask that, bro?
Why did I ask if she? No, I just wanted to get her assessment of the young lady's mental health. I'm sure some of us have seen what she's done the past few months or weeks.
I don't think anything is actually wrong with her except for the fact.
Who are you talking about?
It's a basketball player, Zion Williamson, was dealing with this girl, and now she's saying that he was abusive.
Well, there was a lead up, right? She initially an outcry about the behavior, like him going on with another woman. Then secondly, she lied and said that it was fake pregnancy tests. That got no real traction, and now she's saying that he was abusing her.
And what's her name again? I want to look at
Mariah Mills. So it's been a series. It's been a series of allegations and her complaining about, pretty much a dude left her and she's upset. And everything has just been airing him out, telling his business, how much money he's provided her. And the last thing she came out and said, Paradise was saying, once all that stuff was ignored, the most recent thing she brought up was that he was abusive. So,
yeah,
I'm like,
it sounds like she's trying to pull out all the punches, huh?
Yeah.
All right, I got that link, man. I just posted and pinned it to the top of the chat. But Sweeney is live tonight. I'll be on there tonight. So just posted the link, pinned it to the top of the chat. Y'all make sure y'all stop through. I know he's supposed to drop in as well. So let's make sure y'all head over there. Come hang out with Sweeney tonight, 9 p.m. Central Time. Is posted to the top of the chat. Great show. I want to thank everybody for joining. Man, we out, man. Hit the like button and also make sure to subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the sponsor, Teach Channel. Make sure y'all go ahead and cop that Teach pack. That link is in the description as well. We out.
Peace,